said what now? I had a really great time. What was that? My very first Emily Henry book. I might have procrastinated too close to this one. Hello friends and welcome to this week's reading vlog. It's currently the middle of the last week. I'm starting this vlog a little bit later into the week, but it's the last week in May, which means I have all of the book club things coming up, and I have been in a little bit of a reading slump. Thanks Magnolia Parks. If you haven't already seen that vlog, I will be posting that one before this one, which, spoiler alert, I did like the series. However, it put me through it, and I definitely was starting to feel like I had been put through it. So I've been dragging my feet just a little bit on getting to all of the other books that I need to get to for this month. I somehow have found myself in like 3 book clubs, so I've got some things ahead of me. It's currently Wednesday. This past weekend was Memorial Day. I had just the best time on Saturday. I popped in an audiobook and I cleaned my whole house, and I feel so renewed. So I picked up Funny Story by Emily Henry, which was my very first Emily Henry book, and I was not intending to get to this book whatsoever before I got to the other Emily Henrys. I wanted to kind of start and work my way chronologically. But I just haven't made it there, and this just happened to be a book club pick, and so I was just like, you know, maybe it's time. I did listen to the audiobook because I've heard nothing but all of the good things about Julia Whelan, and I happened to get my hold from the library come through, so it was a sign. All of the pieces came together for me to pick this one up, and I did, and I liked it a lot. I really love the take of the main male character that's not just like hard eyes from the get-go. He's down on his luck, so to speak. So if you don't already know what this book is about, essentially you've got 2 characters who are, one's engaged with someone else and one was dating someone else for like 3 years. These 2, their partners, have been best friends their whole lives, and plot twist, before these 2 get married, this guy decides, oh crap, I'm in love with my friend over here. So the couples break up and split apart, kind of. The way that I quite actually do not remember the main characters' names. I listened to it at like 3 times speed because, again, I was kind of in a rush to get it read before book club, but I got it read, so. So homegirl over here moves in with homeboy over here who needs a roommate, and she's getting ousted from her house. But the whole reason that she's in this town is because she kind of picked up and moved everything to go live with her fiance, and then her fiance dipped, and it's just a whole thing, right? But you're seeing both of these characters at a very low point in their lives. If that drawer being half open this entire video bothered you, it bothered me too. So because they both met each other at a very low point in each other's lives, neither of them were really trying to put on airs or like really trying to get the other person to like them in any capacity, and so they really got to see each other at their absolute worst. But they're also trying to figure out this new turning point in their lives and figuring out that everything that they had planned for previously was kind of up in the air, and they're just kind of figuring it out together. And because of that, they're able to really bond at a very deep level. Trauma bonds, man. Anyway, so that was that book, and I really enjoyed it. Book club was a fun time, and I'm glad that I read it. So we're gonna go through the other book club books that I have, and then I also want to quickly talk about a couple books that I want to wrap up before the month ends. So this is almost kind of a monthly reset vlog, in a sense. I finally started Twisted Love. I have owned this book for far too long. Also, the Target sticker needs to come off, but I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm 75% of the way through the audiobook. If you are at all interested in this book, don't do the audiobook, because then, like me, you will have 0 chances of liking it, because I don't necessarily like the narrators, but the way that the narrators word some of this very cheesy dialogue just makes it even worse. Honestly, I'm 75% of the way through this one. Honestly, unless things just magically get better in the last 25%, which I don't think it will, I'm feeling a 2-star from this one. I went into this book expecting that it wasn't going to be the best book in this series, given that I've heard so many people say that this book is not the best, but then the rest of the series gets a lot better. I'm hoping that's the case, because if not, what are we talking about? So in this book, we have Alex and we have Ava. It's best friends. I'm realizing I might just have a personal vengeance at this point, I guess, about brother's best friend, because that just seems to be the case. But her brother is very protective. He goes off and he's a med student, and he's doing a volunteer medical semester in another country. So he's off. He gives charge of his sister to his best friend to protect her. And it just starts off like that. But Alex, our baddie main male character, he doesn't do emotions and he doesn't do feelings, and his taste in bed is that whenever he sleeps with someone, he doesn't look at them. And it just goes very cheesy very quickly and very like trying too hard in my opinion. So it just it's not hitting for me, to the point where I was giggling at some of this because I was like, he said what now? So if you're at all interested in this, don't read the audiobook because then you'll be exactly like me. But even if you don't read the audiobook, I still don't know how it would go for you. So anyways, I'm gonna finish the last 25% of it, but book club for this is tomorrow. So this is gonna be the highest priority for this week. And then we have none other than Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I am having the best time. I think it's because I haven't read a fanrow in, that's a total lie. I haven't read a fanrow like on my Kindle, and for me, fanrows go best when I read the Kindle version. I like audiobooks usually, and I like audiobooks that have more fantasy in them, but if it's more of a romance heavy fanrow, I tend to like the Kindle version. This one right now is kind of split between the two, but it is a little bit more romance heavy, but I think I'm more connected to the romance because I am physically Kindle reading it. This book club is Friday, Saturday, one of the 2 days. I'm doing really great, but I'm not worried about this one because I'm 40% and I am living. In fact, I will probably tonight, probably this afternoon, I'm gonna listen to the rest of Twisted Love, or I might honestly do it in the morning because I feel like if I don't finish the last 25%, I won't be that hurt with anything that's spoiled. So, however, I'm having so much fun with this. I started this Monday night. I read 40% of it all in a go. So if that tells you how this is going, that's how this is going. I wasn't able to read this one last night because I did finish Daisy Hates, which I'm about to go update that reading vlog. So when you see me in the same outfit in that prior video and now you're seeing me again, that's why. So the last 2 books that are kind of sort of on my May TBR, or things that I at least would like to finish in the month of May, one of them is probably going to be a no. But the other one, I did start listening to the Powerless audiobook. I'm at chapter 52. I'm not sure what the percentage is. I am listening to this on Everand, which they don't tell you the percentages, which would be kind of helpful. I don't know when my brain converted to book percentage versus pages or chapters, but it just happened and it's too late to fix it. So I'm enjoying this book a lot. I think I kind of paused this book because I feel like I should have read it on my Kindle or physically versus the audiobook. Even though I do really like the audiobook, I've come to the realization that a more romance heavy fantasy romance I like better physically. I feel like if you're in a book slump and you're looking for just something to be a very standard cookie cutter, something to just like hit all the boxes but not really do anything too special, that's this book. It's fun. Last but not least, book lovers. I really don't think I'm actually going to get to this one, but if I just happen to have some time, my audiobook hold for this came in because I did just read Funny Story. I was in the mood to just see, am I in my MHen era? Did I just happen to read a book that I really liked? Or is it an author that I really liked? And because the hold came up so quickly, and I'm not reading anything else that is more contemporary style romance, as opposed to Twisted Love, because that to me is just like not... So I figured this might just be a fun little have an audiobook moment once I do finish up Twisted Love and then potentially Powerless. But yeah, I've got my work cut out for me, both finishing up some book club reads as well as finishing up just some things that I don't have to then roll over into June, because June is Romantasyathon and I'm so excited. I'm thrilled. Can you tell? Anyways, but it's the 29th of May, which means we have basically 3 days to read. We have some things to wrap up this week and I'm very excited to get to reading all of the things and being caught up and ready to go for June from Romantasyathon. I do also want to go over my June and July. Technically, it's going to be my entire Romantasyathon TBR. So basically the whole theme of this video is cleaning up and getting ready. That's my cue to go. Hello friends, so let's quickly talk physical TBR for Romantasyathon. I went through and grabbed all of the books that I physically own that are potential candidates for Romantasyathon. We actually have 2 more Thalassa books. I have Bewitched. I read Rhapsodic a couple months ago, I want to say, and I liked it a lot, but I just did never go back and pick up book 2. But I do have the whole series, as is a running theme. Dawn of Onyx, Promise of Peridot came out. I haven't gotten to this one yet, and I'm very excited to. I am still currently in the middle of powerless, but I do have powerful for when I am done with that. Also, a quick little novella kind of might be the move. Need I say more? Crowns and Iaxia is just iconic, stunning, amazing, everything to me. And I have been kind of saving Slaying the Vampire Conqueror until I needed my Carissa Broadbent vampire fix. I might continue to save this a little bit longer because I do have Daughter of No Worlds. I'm definitely so beyond thrilled to get to. I do have the whole series in that yet again, so I need to get to it sooner rather than later. Through the Flames, I still have this, but I'm still kind of putting it off. I'm not really sure what I want to do there. And then I do have book 2, a deal with the Fae Prince in this series, but then a deal with the, no, not a deal. It's a dance with the Fae Prince is book 1, and then a dance. So there's a sticker covering. The name that would be helpful. I have this book 2 if I did happen to pick up book 1. I've always wanted to try Annalise Kova. I still haven't picked up anything from her somehow, and I feel like that would be a good start. And then I do have Fallen Stars, which is the second book following Hidden Bodies. Neither of these books are on KU, and I was able to pick this up for $1 like a couple months ago. However, this book is no longer available like for sale. I wonder if it's getting traditionally published and they just haven't announced anything, but they're leaving Hidden Bodies up so you can actually get to it. But the fact that this book and then book 3, which is supposed to come out sometime this year, still hasn't, like, there's been no news about it. I'm kind of conflicted as to if I even go back into this world, because I feel like once I'm back in this world, I want to be in the world. I realized I didn't grab the book that I'm arguably most excited about for literally any of the books that I have is Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I have been kind of waiting for Heat until Burn came out. Burn was supposed to release in June. However, that release has gotten pushed back a little bit. It's kind of an indefinite moment right now. However, I did officially get approved for the arc for Burn of the Everflame, which is supposed to be sent out like a week before Burn comes out. However, I need to actually read Heat before I can get to that. So this one is definitely high on the priority list. It's so chunky. And then last but not least, I did pick up 2 mass market paperbacks of some backlist fantasy romance, and I am very interested to get to. Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. I have been wanting to get to this one for a hot freaking minute. But then also the Fever series by Karen Marie Moaning. I see this on my Libby app. It'd be like being recommended all the freaking time. I'm excited to read these 2. I think this one and then Burn for Me by Alona Andrews. I am thinking about doing a backlist fantasy romance reading vlog at some point during June and July. So I'm very excited for these as well. That is all of the fan row that I own that I haven't read yet, which I feel like is both good and a little, like, it's still a lot. Who am I kidding? But I will make some progress on it this month. I'm probably going to start reading these before I switch over to anything else on KU. However, okay, just kidding. I do have more. The other thing that I'm most excited for, first of all, Mountains Made of Glass. This was $6 during Amazon's book sales, so got that. Which will be fun to just have like a really short, spicy book somewhere in the mix. And then Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. These two, man, these 2 are the hype list. I mean, it's all the hype list, but like those are the primary hype list. I did read Slaying the Shadow Prince already, so I am primed and prepped and ready to go to jump into this book. And then if I happen to want to continue the series, that's, you know, an option. Currently borrow titles and see if there's anything else on there that just like feels like needs to technically be on this TBR. However, I'm going to start with everything that I have physically. You're currently sitting on my bookshelf. So I'm going to read everything that's sitting here, and then we might mood read a little bit here and there from KU. Let's go to book club. Hello friends, I just got back from book club and I had the best time. We painted canvas bags, which was absolutely the most stinking fun. I managed to completely forget my bag at home, so I watched everybody else, which means that I got inspiration to do my own later. So I wanted to just go ahead and take a moment and update on my Twisted Love thoughts. What was that? I understand, and I knew from the getting into the book that book 1 is not near as good as the rest of the series and that everything gets better. This is the face of me realizing I didn't wear the mascara today. I should have left that longer. Anyways, I'm just gonna put a screenshot here of my Goodreads review because first of all, I need to be better about writing Goodreads reviews, but also I feel like they're so much more fun to write whenever I don't like the book, so I just kind of went with it and just had a good time making fun of it. However, I feel like a good book club book because we could discuss. I feel like books that we all universally either like or don't like is fun because then we can talk a bit more specific and nobody feels like they kind of have to. Oh, well, I loved it. Or like, I really didn't like it. So it was fun because we kind of all got to bash it together. And then also there were a couple people in the group that have read all 4 books and like know very clearly that this is the worst one to them. This book, I think I had most issues with Alex, specifically the fact that he's all a big baddie, feels no emotions whatsoever, and then not only does he portray himself as a baddie, he really wasn't. Like, I felt like we got to see a couple of the corporate power moves that he is so famous for making, but not as many of them, and all of the ones that he made were just like kind of petty revenge kind of things. So he didn't really feel like a strong, powerful main male character that like had all this ish behind him. He just kind of felt like a baby who needed to see a therapist. It was built up very much so that he is this guy that has very specific bedroom tastes that were more advanced for our female main character's normal cup of tea. I felt like all of that was kind of like dramatic just for being dramatic because all he wanted to do was dirty talk. That was all. Like, there was nothing that he needed to actually warn anybody about. It was just like not. The spice itself was terrible, but like all of the dialogue regarding the spice was just I couldn't keep a straight face, or I was laughing the whole time, and part of that was because I listened to the audiobook, which I would not recommend. However, I feel like I do always say this, but I am glad to have a book that I have owned for far too long off my TBR. And I feel like now that I kind of like know what the series is and I've seen the characters, I feel like I have a good idea for like where the rest of the series is gonna go in terms of like the tropes of the series and like who it's about and stuff. So I feel more inclined to pick them up at a later time. I don't know that I will, to be fully honest with you. And I know that they get better, but I also am just kind of like, I know my romance taste and that's not really it necessarily. Regardless, book club was a fun time and I finished the book on time. Just saying. I definitely was just like, oh, the other thing about this book, I kept thinking that it was over. Like 75%, I was like, okay, yeah, so we've had our conflict. There was 25% of the book left. And then what, like 88 or so percent hit? And I was like, oh, there's a conflict. There's 12% of the book left, and then there was another conflict, and I felt like it just kept going for literally no reason. And also, the third act breakup was so dumb. I hate third act breakups in general. That particular one was so dumb. The only reason that we had it was to get some groveling involved, and I don't feel like that's enough reasoning, personally. There was a very big theme about like saving yourself and not waiting for another human, whether it was either the main characters or friends or whoever it was, waiting on other people and relying on other people to be okay. And instead of doing that, like learning how to be okay yourself. And that was great fun in D&D. There were plot points closer to the end of the book that just kind of negated everything. And the whole time you're just thinking like, what are we doing here? Like, is this not, we're still going? What is happening? Yeah, so ultimately I'm glad I read it. Would I recommend it? Absolutely not. I think because I was able to actually finish it, I will give it a 2-star. I won't give it a 1-star. However, there were parts where I was like, is this a 1-star? I think Twisted Love was just trying to do too much all in one go because you have literally every trope that's ever existed combined into a book that's trying to be like a, not really a mafia romance, but like kind of like a lot of the elements of mafia in terms of you got the super rich guy who's got all of the power, who also is not afraid to do whatever it takes to burn the world down for her. First of all of those tropes outside of a fantasy setting generally for me just don't work, and outside of a true mafia setting doesn't work. I felt like we were just trying to work in a lot of topics and just cram them in. But keep in mind, like, I was able to finish it. I could see some people really liking it. It just definitely was not for me. So that's why it's gonna be a 2-star. But it is ultimately very, very fun to make fun of. So that gives it some extra brownie points. I am H-O. Anyway, so that was book club 1. We have, I guess technically book club 2 if you count Funny Story, which was last Saturday, which is a week ago now. However, I have read absolutely 0% more of Heartless Hunter, and book club's tomorrow and I am at 40%. So it's currently a time that I cannot see because watch be dead. I may or may not have charged it in the first place, and I put it on because I felt like I just needed to wear a watch even if it was going to be dead. Does anybody else do that? Anyways, I am very excited about tomorrow's book club because while I do, it's almost 11 p.m. but while I do have quite a lot of this book left to finish, I'm not necessarily mad at it because I feel like A, it reads fast, and B, I'm having a really good time with it, and I feel like it is the kind of book that just reads quickly that you kind of would want to binge. So I'm excited to get to that book, read it, and have the best time, but then also go to book club. I am gonna brush my teeth, I am going to put on my pajamas, and I am going to stay up far too late reading, which is something I've never done before ever. Y'all, I have somehow miraculously finished this book. I love how I was all very confident and that I was fully going to be able to read this book in time, and then I might have brought home the bottle of wine that I brought to book club last night and then had a glass and then immediately fell asleep. I might have procrastinated too close to the sun. However, I had 50% of this book left, and so I ended up getting the Audible credit, which I really didn't want to, but I figured that, you know, I may or may not want to reread this when book 2, which I think this is a duology, but when that book comes out, I would probably end up doing a reread, and I'll use the audiobook then anyways. Also, I did just have a credit, so like it kind of worked out. So I had fully intended to listen to this audiobook while I was at work today, and then we got super busy. So I finally at like 4:30 was able to put this on. I cranked it up to like 3.5 speed, and wow. Not only did that feel like pure crackhead energy book listening, but it also was actually really fun. I was so invested because it was going so fast. It felt like it fit the pacing of the ending of the story for me, and I cannot believe the way that this ended. And given the structure of a duology, I feel like the pacing was very much so a standard pacing for book 1, book 2 kind of plot lines, but I was still very interested in these characters and all of the drama that was occurring. Yeah, I am very interested to see where book 2 goes given some of the results of book 1, we'll say, and I had a really great time. We were real close to not meeting this deadline, and yeah, we did it though. Not only did we finish Twisted Love, we also finished Heartless Hunter, and I technically did finish Funny Story earlier on at the beginning of the week, so I'm considering this week a big fat success. Will I continue to procrastinate future end of month reading weeks when I have book club reads? Yes, I will. Did this work out for me this time? Yes. Will it work out for me again? Maybe. We'll find out. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, obviously like this video, and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on my Instagram account. It's at Baze Reads. Leave a butterfly emoji because moths are back here in this area and I am already sick of them. So butterfly. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay. Okay.
No, no,
Now you can go.
No, I'm shy. She's usually the one behind the camera. You do it. Read. You didn't even read it.
I am now.
Now let's just all watch your watchy reads.
I'm gonna be here for a while. Pass it around.
When the blood gods suspected the girl of being a witch.
Oh Lord, she was a witch.
That snap with like the blood vein.